Cavalier faithful, we're talking Cavs basketball. It's the All-Star break. It's Justin, it's Logan, and we have a special guest. We'll get to him after the break, have him introduce himself. Let's talk Cavs. Cavalier faithful, it's your Cavs encapsulated crew plus one. And just a little inside story. So if you guys have watched us for a while, maybe you don't know, me, Justin, and Logan, we all went to the same high school. Our special guest today still teaches at that high school. As you can see, he's repping coach and teacher, professor Mark Urban. Welcome on in to Talkin Cavs. Introduce yourself. Tell us who you are. Tell us how you feel tonight.
Glad to finally be on with you guys. I know you're legends in your own making now, so hopefully your audience keeps appreciating you. And it's good to be in your company now that we're all free of some of the shackles of St. Edward High School, and we can talk freely about our beloved Northeast Ohio sports. Hi, everybody. I'm Mark Urban, a longtime St. Edward teacher, sometime coach at St. Ed's, coach basketball, and I coached golf there as well. I had the privilege of working with these three hosts of ours in many different capacities, and they all brought a lot to my workplace, a very special place for us all, and but they all brought their own unique flair to the place in so many different ways. Some days just, helping us have a laugh and remind ourselves that, life isn't all as serious as we sometimes make it to be. And even when our beloved sports teams are having their ups and downs, hey, you got to talk it out with your fellow man and live to fight another day and keep cheering them on.
I love that because I think that describes the team, I think, almost to the point where you could tell it's serious, but they know how to have their fun. And we were just doing some catching up. We didn't talk any Cavs basketball prior to this. So I think I'm curious, Logan's curious, Justin's curious. How did you feel about the first half of the season with this team, with pre-All-Star break, the acquisition of Donovan Mitchell? Just let it all out, and then we'll go around. Justin, Logan, everyone will chime in.
Take it away.
Yes, that's you.
Yes, sir.
I mean, Donnie Mitchell was crazy. I mean, that was the school building blew up that day. It was nuts, and it was fun. He shot a commercial, did a commercial shoot in at St. Edward's gym, and so it was just. The buzz was on, and obviously anybody who follows NBA, knows he's an incredibly special player. And it was just wild to just get a brand new breath of life back into a franchise that was hanging in there. It wasn't like we were terrible, but first half for me, maybe back to your point, Jeff, just how young they are, and we had so many injuries. It was crazy, no rotations at all, because every other game it was something different. And, I'm not going to sit here and say Bickerstaff kind of was able to plan any of that, but he had to do it. He had to do what he had to do. But I'm excited at the prospect of them having had to go Frankenstein mode first half of the season with a lot of talent and just figure it out, and there's always questions with that fifth starting spot and, who's coming in, and now Rubio's back and Danny Green. And now it's there's maybe a new set of conditions or that make it kind of lively and crazy. But I like the idea that he's had to coach, 50 some games with a lot of variables. And just because I wonder what that could look like. Is that what we're building toward in the second half now that we have the Kevin Love question kind of figured out? Danny Green's in, Rubio getting healthy, Green probably getting healthy, but them also gelling and figuring out who they are. Mobley had a nice spurt offensively right before the break, and so that was cool to see. And he's had some swings there, but they're also a young team and they swing a lot. I get frustrated they'll blow leads something fierce. Like I coach freshman basketball at St. Ed's, and my team, I love these guys. I should give a shout out to my freshman gold team. We had a winning season, but man, we had to grind it out, and we had some games where we just we had, I think, 4 or 5 games. We had leads late in the fourth quarter and lost all of them. And it was like I'd go home from my games and I'd turn on a Cavs game. We'd be up 15. Next thing you know, we're losing. I'm like, what is happening? And then you forget. Sometimes they're young. You forget the continuity challenges, and then some of the flashes of brilliance you get to see. And I mean, obviously Donovan Mitchell's game where he went crazy, and just some of the other stuff has been just wild. So, and then people know, like, I think around the league, like Cavs fans are insane. Like they're crazy.
Cleveland fans are insane.
And so it's nice to have it back again. And it's weird though, because it's non-LeBron. It's post-LeBron Cavs madness. And my son and I went to a game against the Mavs. It was a game where Luka sat in it was not a good game.
Yeah.
When we won. Yeah, the game was just rough. And the Cavs, of course, figured they won. And my son and I are like, man, that was they won, and it was kind of lifeless, but I'm like, hey, they won. And so it's been a fun ride so far.
Coach, it was amazing. The first few things that you talked about were from a coach's perspective. And obviously, we've been talking JB for a while. Obviously, last year he doesn't have a Donovan Mitchell, and he runs it back with Darius Garland, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen, and you get those guys in the All-Star game last year. And then this year you get Donovan Mitchell, and you have to figure things out with rotations and minutes and everything. And like you said, we had injuries. We had Dean Wade, who just got off of that fresh contract, get hurt very early on, and he was a big piece in that, starting lineup, kind of rotation of the first guy off the bench kind of position. But it's tough to watch these games, and you describing with your team, how do we get away from these collapses? How do we get away from the breakdowns in these late portions of the game, or even in the third quarter, where Logan has, talked to us about it all year, that our third quarters are horrendous coming out of half?
I think it's the biggest challenge of Bickerstaff's career right now, where he just, I think, and no matter how good coaches are, I mean, I shout out to Coach Flannery at St. Edward basketball, like
best in the biz.
Every one of us, I mean, hands down, one of the top ever, and yet I'll privately, and I only coach freshman level, so I have all kind of chinks in my coaching armor, but all coaches have some kind of adjustment they're making, and I mean, it was great a couple years back when the Cavs organization committed to him. I don't know, it's tip the cap to him, put a lot of faith in him. And now it's like, now that the talent is there, it's that scrutiny gets on you even more so. Like us freshmen and JV coaches will watch Coach Flan coach, and we're on the inside, and sometimes we just marvel at what he can do. Like the other night, even though we lost a tough game against Richmond, there was some guys sitting next to some athletes from Maple Heights, and the one kid was like, at one point St. Ed's hoops got down 7, and the one kid was like, it's not over, and there was like 2 minutes left, and the next thing you know, we took a 1 point lead, and the kids are like, see what I'm talking about, and so I think Bickerstaff's in that microscope mode now, where he's got the talent now. It's unquestionable. I know we have like maybe 6-man quirky things going on. We got Wade coming back, Rubio, and now I add in Danny Green. That's a new challenge continuity wise, and maybe Danny Green's veteran leadership helps with that. Like how do we anchor? I think it's a little tricky because Garland and Mitchell are so dynamic, and and then modern NBA. Like I was listening to a clip the other day of I was watching a clip of Steph Curry in college, and it was like Mike Tirico and somebody else were like commenting on Curry, and I think it was Mark Jackson who said, "Oh, this kid's he's a perfect fit for the NBA." And Mike Tirico said, "Yeah, but what about all those turnovers?" And Mark Jackson's like, "I don't care." Like, so everybody knows in the NBA, like talent wins out, but I know sometimes I think I could see how with Darius being so young, I could see that yo-yo of like No, now you go. It's like the Spider-Man meme or something, like who's going to go next. Or maybe it's like, I almost want to think like, and I hate doing this to guys because you don't want to have the LeBron Kyrie problem of like, who's the top dog. And, all of a sudden you get alpha bro problems. And I think Garland and Mitchell are not really like that, but I think there sometimes needs to be that, like, how do we figure out the 1-2 or the 2-1 punch? And how do we find a balance there? And because I think a lot of times late in games, it does seem to, it almost tends to fall. It's weird. It'll be Garland or it'll be Mitchell. But I think that's something that those players have to kind of figure out. Like it takes way more than a season to get that kind of continuity, and then B, maybe that's where we go back to Bickerstaff. Like what is his what's he going to do? What is that going to look like? And maybe to your point, Logan, regarding some of the, which is due criticism. Like you guys should be all over them. I wonder what that might start looking like in the second half of the season. Are we going to have those laps? And that could be around playoff time, that's going to be problematic, so.
Right. Yeah. Now, I mean, the way I look at it, when you look at the power balance that was shifted in the NBA when Kevin Durant signed with Brooklyn, he was finally away from Golden State. Everybody basically had 2 All-Stars. There's a lot of way that you look at it. And we say that talent wins out, and most likely it does. More often than not in the NBA, it's going to win out. But what I liked about the first half of the season for the Cavaliers is not one game was kind of like the other. I mean, obviously, we've kind of found our identity right before the All-Star break. We're playing our brand of basketball. But to me, like we talked about, Garland goes out beginning of the season. Mitchell goes on 8-game win streak, basically mostly by himself. Everybody was on Mitchell's shoulders. Garland comes back, readjusts. Wade's gone. Wade comes back, readjusts. Rubio's back, readjust. Danny Green's in. Like you guys have mentioned, there's obviously a lot of things that, haven't gone the way of the Cavaliers. But to me, that's what makes me excited for the second half of the season. When you talk about a team that, we're 38-23 at the break right now, people think, and they look up they look at that roster, like, you got Mobley, you got Garland, you got Mitchell, you guys should have 60 wins. No, that's just not how that works. And, to the 15-year-old mind, sure, that's how it works. But as you grow up and realize the experiences you learn from game to game, especially this Cavaliers team that has learned lessons, some painful lessons. I mean, we won't talk about some of the games that we lost, like the Warriors game where we hosted and they're down a bunch of guys. Those kinds of games are going to morph you. I mean, you talk about the Milwaukees, the Phillies, the Boston, did I already say that? The Celtics, the Bucks, and the Phillies of this world. I mean, those are the 3 teams that everybody's saying you're not better than them. To me, I think we can play with any 3 of those teams, and it's because of what happened in the first half of the season that could set up a good second half for the Cavaliers.
Well, what I think is interesting is that we're talking about Coach Flan, and it's like, I get it. You grow a lot from 16 or 17 to 20 and 21, but seniors in high school are not that much younger than the guys on the Cavs roster. They're really not. 4 or 5 years, which is interesting because people say, oh, high school ball, college ball. Obviously, college ball is huge, but high school to the NBA, we know high schoolers could go right to the NBA. I think that's a common thing. Logan, talk to me about the Philly game because you just said they're better than us. And did it just show a little bit like maybe we weren't ready, maybe we're mailing it in before the All-Star game? Just give me your thoughts on the last game before the break.
Yeah, to me, that's kind of the first real test, right? And we failed it, and that is what it is. I failed probably a test of Mr. Urban's once or twice. No, I couldn't have. So to me, obviously, we've played some good teams this year. When we beat Boston, basically back-to-back earlier this season, I thought, you know what, it's the filling out process. I'm glad to win, but that's not both teams at their very best. Obviously, the Philly game, that's like an opportunity for you, right? You win this game, you're 3rd in the Eastern Conference. You're on the road against a really tough Philadelphia team who's playing some good basketball, and you failed. And that's not the worst thing in the world to me. To me, there's a lot of more tests down the rest of the road. I mean, me and Jeffrey were talking before either Justin or Coach Urban got on, and there's some games down the road here where you have Miami back-to-back. You have Boston virtually back-to-back again. You're going to have chances to once again make up for the error. And you don't go they're down 31-10 to start that game. You're most likely winning that game. They played even, if not better, for the last 2.5 quarters, I'd say, of that basketball game. The Philly got out of the blocks fast, and Cavs are playing catch-up. Obviously, we've talked about that throughout the season. I hate when we start down 9 points in the first quarter. There was a stretch there where I think it was like every game for 2 weeks. I felt like we were fighting from behind. But again, those are the things that morph you as a player, as a man in a lot of ways, are those times where you're digging yourself out. You just don't want to be digging and digging and digging, which I think the Cavaliers showed at the end of the first half of the season. They showed they're not waiting for you anymore. We're coming at you, and that's what I want to see the rest of the season. And that Philly game, like I said, that's just one of those that you got to learn. You got to take that hit and get back up. And I know that sounds so cliche. I always hate cliches, but that is the truth of the matter.
Justin, your guy, Donnie Mitch. Let's piggyback off of that.
I guess everybody is his guy. I thought Garland was his guy last week.
Well, I called him coming here, Logan. Yes. So technically, I get Garland and I get guys. Mitchell.
All right, you can have both. That's fine. I'll take Kevin Love. Ooh.
Well, that's fine.
Where did that come from?
You're gonna go for Miami? Really quick on that. You know what upsets me about that?
Go ahead.
General conversation. I really thought Rubio was going to be able to get him back into the swing of things.
We didn't even try to play him, though. Like, we didn't even try to get him in the game.
Yeah, I just think it was time because his game had dropped so dramatically. But, like, now we were questioning if it was his thumb or, like, is his game just really gotten that bad? Has it deteriorated that bad? Or the way that the Cavs run, I don't know, their offense and defense? But I don't know.
Honestly, I never said this at the time, but Love's demise was when we gave Dean Wade the extension. He's like a budget Love. Be a decent passer, rebound the ball,
can actually defend,
shoot threes. Play defense.
Can switch on P&Rs.
Were you, Justin? Were you shocked at the buyout? Were you shocked? Okay.
I was pretty upset about it, honestly. Like, everyone was giving him his flowers, and I was kind of like, well, this kind of came out of left field for me. Like, I know that they had talked about it. They had talked about it before the trade deadline ended. Kobe came out and said that they haven't even talked about it. And then 2 weeks later, he's gone. And
it's like Kevin saw the reports. He's like, that sounds kind of nice.
Yeah, but in my mind, it's like a way to like go and put out like this picture, let's just say it's a picture and be like, hey, this is what you guys are getting. And then 2 weeks later, take it away and be like, oh, it's in the garbage now, Like, I was just upset. And he's getting his number retired immediately. I don't know. I got mixed feelings about the whole situation. I think he deserves it.
I'm about to say.
the way things progressed just really don't sit well with me, to be honest.
I think that a lot of it was probably inner workings of the league. I think it came down to where, like, it's weird because I think we went from there was no way there could possibly be a buyout because it was Wade. The number was so, like, we were so underwater on the whole thing as a franchise, and then I think as it kind of crept along, like it was hard because there was a brief moment a few years ago where I didn't know if Love wanted to be here.
Exactly.
Everybody remembers that one inbound play. He just like threw the ball away and
a few of those.
Get me out of here. It looked like it was like, get me out of here. And then there was this, then he had that huge resurgence in just what he brought. Like, it was almost like the vibes from the 2015, 2016 years where there were just vibes, like, and Kevin Love was in the middle of all that. And such a like a unique culture guy. And you guys get it in a modern age, like, you can't get paid all that money and just be culture guy. Like, it's like you gotta be able to bring it, but I felt like it was like the inner like workings of all that. And I think and I understand the criticisms, Jeff and Justin, like, I understand like that light criticism where we're kind of like, well, just a few weeks ago, it seemed so different. And it just probably was like creeping inevitability, and now we have to, I do think it's a little like, it almost got a little campy by them jumping right to just talking about
the retirement. Yeah.
Like, let the thing percolate a little bit before we get, because I'm even thinking, before coming in with you guys, I'm kind of looking over stats and I'm like, second most threes made in franchise history. He's like sixth in rebounds, ninth in points. But then there's this intangible of that
doesn't fit.
That run where it's like, what does that look like? And I think it's tricky because the Cavs are not a good perimeter defending team. They don't defend the three very well, and
funnel it to the
yeah,
bigs.
Danny Green that's not gonna help per se. But I mean, I think Jeff, you're right. It's no knock on Dean Wade, who's a talented player, but I think you can kind of get clear of the money, and almost like now at this point, the team is the team. Like it's now has its own fingerprint, and Danny Green, it's kind of like a bar, what is it, like a hired shooter or whatever, like a hired assassin, and that's great. I would love it. I hope he gets real hot, but I think that Wade can do, other things, and he's going to be a bit more active and just a bit more physical and just a little quicker. And it's funny, your point earlier, Justin, about us not, it's funny, we got all these young legs and we're just not, that's not our style. It's very like pick and roll, pick and pop, and then every now and then Donovan or Darius creates, and, it'd be nice to see them get up and down a little more, but, the two bigs, it's like they're curious dudes, and like Mobley's upside is huge. His offense is just coming around, and Allen's I love Jared Allen because he's just kind of a weirdo. Like he's just different, in such a good way. Like he's just seems to just be so unaffected, and I just keep being reminded how young they are. They're just so young, and they're like a 4 games back, only they have beat a couple, earlier, Logan, you mentioned it. I know it was early, and probably you're right, Logan, it's not a great litmus test to beat Boston early, but they at least have that under their belt now,
exactly.
and we go from there, and then maybe swing it back to the Philly game. Like I just keep, there's so many games where they do keep fighting, and it does get cliche and corny. There's no moral victories and all that crap in the NBA,
we have a lot of them.
But they stunk for a while in that game, and then by the end they're 3-4 points out. I mean, they had to cut it down to 3 or 4, and
it was 4
with a reasonable chance of maybe pulling it off. So those kind of tests, I'm wondering what this looks like. And I know we got to talk about second half, and we want to talk about now, and I do think this team is capable of winning now. I really do. It's going to be a battle, and it's going to be a slog, but you never know. A couple 7-game series or whatever, and just never know. But in the long view, like what is this team? How is all this experience adding up? Because again, it's so many new pieces. It's particularly with Donovan Mitchell. He's such a big piece that that's going to take time.
Absolutely right.
Yeah, for sure. And what I don't think people understand is that we talk about it a lot, but this team with the youth and a different roster last year was on nobody's radar.
No.
After what we did last year, everyone comes more prepared to play, ready to handle us night in and night out. That's just how it goes. We don't have that element of surprise we might have had last year, and maybe we still think we do.
Underdog mentality that they had,
right?
That they came in with every
that's
game.
where the junkyard dog came from. So,
Yep.
which I'm glad that has stuck around. But we're about 27 minutes in. We have to do game predictions. We've never done game predictions with a special guest. So, Coach, you're going to be the first one.
Oh, let's
go. Do we have anything else before we want to get into that? Anything anybody wants to get off their chest? Just general big thoughts for the second half. Where do we go from here?
I mean, I just want to thank Kevin Love, obviously. I mean, plain and simple. This is a guy that simply was in trade rumors every other day, and I don't think he let it once bother him. He never played differently. He had the not sexy job within the big three, get rebounds, stand in that corner, shoot threes. And he never once complained about it. And obviously, the way he talks about mental health outside of the game and how it affects people, I really do admire that guy. And obviously, I've whined before about him, like, oh my goodness, he's so slow. God, he can't defend a pick and roll. He's not doing anything. Like, believe me, the fan in us will always take over. But I can't say enough about that guy. And yeah, we all knew his jersey was going to be retired. We didn't need to announce it, but a big kudos to Kevin Love, and I just pray that he doesn't knock down 7 triples in that first round matchup with the Heat. So, wishing him well.
I will echo that because I know I came off very hot when I took that opinion of Kevin. But Logan did mention some very important things about Kevin Love's tenure here. But the one that I will resonate a lot with is the mental health issues. As someone who struggles with that, I know that it can be a tough time and that, it's not easy to speak up about those things, and him to come out to the public, not only in an article, but to go and plaster it all over Cleveland and everything, and kind of, have Cleveland be the place where he made that statement really resonated with me. And I saw a tweet of a dad who took his daughter to a game, and I can't remember exactly what it talked about, but I'm pretty sure Kevin responded to it, and you could just tell like that was more important to him than the actual game of basketball was. And that's just important to keep in mind, that at the end of the day, these are still people, and they still have very influential and powerful positions. And what Kevin Love did for people with mental health issues, I'll never be able to forgive him, to thank him enough for doing all that. So yeah.
I think for me, the Cavs have had so many unique situations this year, like with getting Mitchell and having to figure out, hey, what is Love going? Because Love had he had some good games this season. Like he wasn't, and then I know it got weird by the end, but it's kind of interesting to be so competitive and to have so much talent and yet still have so many, unique variables and things you're getting used to. Like largely they've won right away. They had a little flat. They started off hot, got a little flat early. They lost like 5 or 6. And then, then they kind of got flat like about 3-ish weeks ago. They were a little flat again. And then they just went on a run. And, I do think, their upcoming schedule isn't super strong. So it's, and I love right off the rip, Donovan Mitchell every day we get to let him know, every game day we get to let him know tweet. I'm like, this guy, it's like,
fires me up every day.
Talk about junkyard dog mentality, it's like, yes, I need to hear that. Like, are we letting him know?
Are we letting him know tonight?
I need the repetition. I'm a teacher, but I'm also a student too. Oh, okay. I got this, Donnie, we're going to let him know today, and I love that. It's just like that stuff starts to mark it kind of makes the brand of the team or the identity of the team, and so it's time to let them know, like this is, it's I think it's going to be crazy. Like I really do. And I'm kind of in there. I'm going to undermine my own predictions by saying in my own house, we do Super Bowl prop bets every year with my wife and kids.
Nice.
And I was the worst pick. I was the worst picker this year. It was horrible.
Oh.
My daughter doesn't even know sports. She went 10 for 11 in all of our prop bet picks.
It's gotta kill you,
I went 3 for 8, like the bum, old head who can't get on a podcast because his MacBook tech isn't working. Horrible. So I'm A, going to call my shots and my predictions today suck. And then B, I also agree with Logan's prediction. I do think we're going to end up I do not think we'll be in play-in. I do think we'll be the 4th seed and probably playing the Heat.
Yeah.
And hopefully praying that Love doesn't get like 34 and a quarter on us.
That's fine. That's fine. As long as he gives up the usual 40.
Right. I guess so. Right?
-6. Yeah. As long as he gives us a -6, we'll be okay. Right. Good call, Justin.
Well, we're going to put you on the spot even more because we do have game predictions for this upcoming week.
This is a tough week.
You got your own column here. So
Coach.
That's pretty good. So we have Logan, who is tied for the lead, but he wins a tiebreaker. It's a long story. Justin's in second. I'm in third. So we usually start with
me, right?
We usually start with the leader. Usually.
I'm rocking Cavs. I know Nuggets are not an easy matchup, especially for there's matchups every single day that I don't like, and I don't like this matchup either. But I do think fresh out of the break, I think this Cavalier team found something, and I don't think they're going to forget that punch in the mouth that Philly gave them. So I think heading back home, hosting the Nuggets, they'll come out with a close dub.
So spoiler alert, we will be live Thursday. It might just be me, but I am
not eating 100 nuggets with you.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to try to do it. The Denver Nuggets challenge will be Thursday live on the Cleveland Pulse. I'm going to get 120 nuggets. They only come in 20. I got to buy 6 of them. Justin,
what are you gonna have Miranda help you with those? I mean, come on.
No,
you're not finishing a. I would drive
I
the
won't
for this, but like
I'm not going to eat them, but I might eat like 60. You never know.
You're just gonna have them for the show.
Yeah.
You underestimate 60 nuggets.
No, I've done 40 before. I did it for a game last year. I ate 40 in like 15 minutes. That wasn't that
bad.
You guys need a podcast trainer or a dietitian.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
That would be Jeff. Jeff is also our trainer, by the way. So him eating the 120 nuggets is not the best example he should be studying.
To be young.
Right.
Man, I really want to disagree with Logan here, but I also can't drop this game, and I don't feel confident enough in saying the Cavs don't win this game. So Cavs.
Hey, can you scroll up, Jeffrey, so Mr. Urban can see how often Justin picks the Cavs?
Yes.
He's 38.
Oh, there it is.
That's the last one.
I was right when I didn't pick one. No, I was right.
It's been a month.
Hey,
it's been
a while. It's been a while.
It's been 30 days.
How many have I gotten wrong in that period of time though? Since then, 2.
Being a homer's a hell of a drug.
4. Damn.
Honestly, I'm going Cavs too. I can't believe it, but I am.
I can't believe it, Jeff, because I know how much you like the Nuggets here.
But hold on, spoiler alert, I will go Hawks here.
Ooh,
we just got done talking about who we would like to play and not play in the playoffs, and
that's a back-to-back though.
So
you know how I am. All right,
I'm gonna be a downer here out of the break and say we're a little flat out of the break and go Nuggets.
He's so right.
He's
so right though.
Donnie got what did Donovan Mitchell get 40 and 10 and now we're flying across and hey, they're pros. They should be ready to roll. Nuggets are a tough matchup. I do think it'll be a good game. I don't think it's going to be a Philly special, which was brutal. But I'll go Nuggets.
Okay, Justin.
I can see it.
Cavs.
Frick me.
Cavs.
I don't like the back-to-backs, but I have to go Cavs.
Oh my god.
I have to go Cavs.
I just don't like the matchup. I've always hated playing the Atlanta Hawks, and obviously we beat them earlier this season. I was at that game, but even that game, I thought we went out 38-23 after. I think it was actually our record currently. I think it was 38-23 after the first quarter. And then I don't know. I think that freaking Trae Young waving us all goodbye last year lives in my head rent free. And I don't like that we're on the road. I don't like that it's a back-to-back. I'm gonna go Hawks. And
Logan, who did they trade for?
DeJounte Murray.
No. Didn't they trade?
Oh, Sadiq Bey. That's a great pickup. It's a great pickup.
Yeah, I wonder how that will look after the break. More importantly, but Coach, where were you going with this one?
I'm going to go kind of the inverse of what Logan was saying. And I'm sure some of that memory, I know early in the season, it's like, hey, what is that, playoff play-in, wave off, I think it's time, back to what I was saying earlier, it is time to let them know. And because the Hawks are one of those goofy teams that they should the last few years, they should just be so much better. But they're dangerous, and Trae Young's a dangerous player, man. But I'm going to go Cavs, I think. And I'm going to go back. I'm going to go Cavs over Hawks, Cavs over Raptors. I think Raptors, I think again, the Hawks, I know it's ancient history by now, but hey, they got coming out, let's get hot. But I think the Raptors took a couple from us early, and it's
3-0. Yeah, 3-0.
Those ones were those left bad taste in my mouth. I'm just watching, and I'd like to see this. I don't know. It's like, hey, let's start taking care of business in the Eastern Conference.
All right. Spoiler warning. Coach has gotten all these right. I'm calling it right now. He's going to be 100%, and we're going to come back here next week, and we're all going to.
And I'm going to be gone. Coach is going to be my place.
Yes.
And-
Yes. How did you
Do
know?
full time.
Well,
Honestly,
I hope
I'm
I'm
the odd
wrong.
man out.
I want the Cavs to go 3-0, but
honestly, I got to agree. I think we get the Raptors finally. I think we get them.
Cavs, baby. Come on now. What is this?
We got to grab one. We can't get swept by
get
Toronto
swept.
for a season series.
I don't
And
know what it's like losing to Toronto.
I don't want to play them in the playoffs. I'll tell you that much. But I'm going with a win on February 26th. I mean, we might not see them in the playoffs. I don't know where they're sitting right now, like 10th or something like that.
They are
9th.
not very. They are not very far up in the
Similar to the
playoffs.
Hawks, though, they're just like dangerous. Like they could have a night where they look the best team in the NBA, and then every other night they're exactly who they actually are. So that's why those kinds of teams scare you.
They're currently at 10, but I mean, they've got the Wizards. They're tied with the Wizards and a game behind the Hawks. They're not going to fall out of the play-in.
They play like they're the best team in the NBA when they play us. They certainly do.
True.
Fair enough. Some good games. Interesting start. I hate that back-to-back. That home away back-to-back. Nah, I'm not loving it. But Justin, let's start with you. Final thoughts. Donnie Mitch, all-star starter. Let him know.
Let them know, but unfortunately, I will not be giving my final goodbyes to the Cavs. It'll be to our Coach Urban, Professor Urban, Mr. Urban, however everyone here wants to call him, refer to him by. This man was a huge part of our lives, and we made some great memories, had some great Socratic seminars, and just overall.
Look it up. Google it.
He's a great man, great father, great husband, great teacher, dean of men. Can't say enough good things about Mr. Urban. And thank you so much for, getting back in contact with Jeff and, willing to come on here and talk to us and see us again. It was great seeing and talking to you.
Yeah, I mean, Coach, I remember junior year, we lose to St. Ignatius in the district final, St. Ed's or St. Ignatius in basketball. When I got back, I was pretty sad, honestly. I mean, it was the first year managing. I could have played for sure, but, it would be unfair. But I remember I went down to what did we call it? The practice gym. There's a name for it. What was that again?
The SAC?
The SAC. How did I forget about the SAC? Yeah, the Student Activity Center. The SAC. And I was down there shooting some hoops after I just got done, I don't know, putting the water bottles away, putting the jerseys away, and I was just sitting down there kind of just shooting. It was probably 11:30 at night. And all of a sudden, here comes Mr. Urban around the corner, and he shoots with me for about 30 minutes. And we just talked about life, talked about things, and, how we're going to be back next year. And we sure were. Went all the way to the Final Four the following season. But, it's moments like that. Obviously, you knew my brother Parker better. Parker was a better student than I was. I was a good student, folks, but Parker is the golden child in the Leduc household. So, but, really appreciate all the expertise and the love that you've given us over these years. And can't thank you enough for coming on the show. Go Cavs.
Yeah, your brother doesn't talk good shit on the podcast. So
damn right he doesn't.
Yeah, that's what matters
He's
most.
a doctor.
Yeah, who needs those?
Friggin' brainiacs.
Coach, words of wisdom?
Well, one, thank you guys. You are too kind because you guys give a lot to our school community, and it's a two-way street, and we don't get to thank you guys enough. And I know it's you guys are getting long in the tooth from your St. Ed's years, but maybe even back to the skills you take from school. These kind of things, make you credible in a podcast room. Where people know you are. You have charisma and you have a voice you want to use, and you're backing up backing up some of your opinions, but with good evidence and good friendships, and then hopefully a willingness to keep challenging each other in ways that are fun, but also ways that are pretty serious, because we know how this game, how sports goes in Northeast Ohio. We take this stuff very seriously, and it's a lifeblood to our community. And for the record, Logan does have the strap. I'm just saying that's an old phrase. I don't know what the young bloods say nowadays, but Logan Leduc could shoot a basketball. I'm just saying. Okay, shooter's got to shoot. I'm a shooter myself.
It's true.
I appreciate that.
The gift never goes away. So
Coach D owes me a lot of Chipotle
out there. So hopefully hopefully a listener is willing to challenge Logan to some kind of 3-point contest.
Ooh, that's a video
that's
idea
gold.
right
That's
there,
gold.
guys. Come on out to Austin, Texas.
Get Jeff some nugget. We got to mix in some nugget challenge for Jeff.
Yeah.
Jeff will have to eat nuggets if Logan loses.
I'm in.
Jeffrey, you can have a shoot off with me and burn off some calories, maybe after you eat the nuggets. That could be fun.
But my final Cavs thoughts, and I hope we're not too long today, but my final Cavs thoughts are it should be an incredibly exciting second half with the schedule build up and to me continuity. I think the team. I'm looking forward to seeing if they gel. I don't want it to be an if. I'm just again hoping that Donnie and the boys let us know and give us a fun ride into the playoffs. And I don't think I know some people were concerned we're going to be sniffing around the play-in game. It's like let's just blow that up. I just don't see if we're doing that, then things have gone off the rails. If we're near play-in game, we've gone off the rails. Even if we're doing okay, I'd rather see us cling to that 4 spot, if not the 3. Like maybe and play it out and see where it goes from there. Because I do think, back to Logan's point, I do think in playoff series, I think we can compete with anybody over multiple games and wear teams out in different ways. And so it's a great time to be a Cavs fan, and it's crazy because one day we'll talk about my feelings about the LeBron and everything else through the years, because it's been crazy. It's been a crazy franchise run. But I'm a basketball guy for life, and to see 2016 happen, and then in a relatively short time frame with all new talent to be in this position, it's a lot of fun. So looking forward to hearing more of what you guys cover for the rest of the season. And now that my basketball season's over, I can either stop being a part-time observer and listener and be a better fan to you and your podcast, but also be again, if you need to give me a call up and if you need a last minute spot, I'm guaranteed I'm in. So thank you guys so much for having me tonight.
I heard Jeff could use a friend on Thursday night.
Well, I don't think he's
if you like to have about 100 nuggets or so.
Just 50. We'll do 50 each.
Ooh, there you go. That's
Coach, thanks for coming on. We appreciate it. Guys, that's your Tuesday crew on a Monday. We're going to be back. More Cavs content on the way. Go check out our shorts that Logan does. A1 production over there. Turns out Logan produces for his job. So you might be wondering, why is he so good at that? Go over there, check those out. Hit the like button. Hit the like button on this video. If you want to see more guests in the future, just tell us who you want to see. If you want to see Coach back in the future, put in the comments.
We're leaving it up to them.
With that being said, once again, thanks, Coach. Appreciate it. 3 most important words for Cavalier faithful. Let them know.